Please like and comment below and subscribe and share for more first-person encounters.
Case number A013-1. A Tale of Two Ghosts. It was the summer of 1960. It was already hot and humid that July morning. Mother was making our breakfast when she suddenly paused and tilted her head, as if she was listening to someone whispering in her right ear. My chair was facing her. Ralph sat with his back to her, so I was the only one that saw her do this. She suddenly came out of it and said, "Butch, Ralph, this will be your first time going to Giner High School, so when you leave there I want you both to come straight home. Don't go home with anybody, don't stop to talk to anybody, stay together and come straight home, you hear me? There's a lot of sick people out there who like to grab up and hurt little boys like you hear me?" Okay, we chorused. I thought it was strange that she was repeating the "don't go with nobody" lecture again. She'd done that 2 years ago. We both knew these rules by now. That afternoon, as Ralph and I were on our way home from day camp at Benjamin Franklin Junior High School 55. As we reached near the bottom of the steep hill that was 170th Street and St. Paul's Place, a man suddenly staggered out from between the parked cars down and to the right of us. He was a young Latino, deep brown-skinned, black greasy curly hair, worn in the style of the 50s, slick on the sides, curly on top, coming to kind of a coma in front. He was taller than us, of course, maybe 5'3", of a slender build, and in his late teens early 20s, but old to us. He was limping badly, and I thought he may have been hit by a car and had been lying stunned in between the parked cars. As we were watching him stumble and hold onto the cars making his way up the hill toward us, Ralph leaned over to me and whispered, "Should we help him?" "No." I scolded him. "Remember, Mother said not to go with anyone cause they could take us and hurt us." We slowed down and moved toward the fence, putting as much distance between the struggling man and us as the sidewalk would allow. The man never once looked at us, but just seemed to be concentrating on getting up to St. Paul's Place and Washington Avenue at the top of the hill. He would walk a little and pause and hold onto the cars and gather his strength, then try to walk a little more and end up stopping again to hold onto the parked cars for balance again. I put myself between Ralph and the man, so I had a clear view of him all the while we approached each other. He never said anything but grimace every time he took a step on his left leg. We passed him to his right. He to our left. We took one step and then I said, "Ralph, he really looks hurt, we should help him." We turned around and the man was gone. I thought maybe he had fallen between the cars again. We turned and started back up the hill, putting a distance between the cars and us, just in case he wasn't hurt but hiding. Ralph walked in the street and I walked on the sidewalk, we each looking into the parked cars to see if he was in one. He was nowhere to be seen. Even an athlete could not have made it up that steep hill in the second it took for us to turn around. Ralph and I just looked at each other and said, maybe he was a ghost. Because we were thinking about helping this man and going against the warnings of our mother, we could not tell any of our family about it, but we told our friends that we saw a ghost, but because they booed and called us crazy, we stopped talking about it. In 1982, as Ralph and I sat talking about the weird things we had seen in our lives, he suddenly asked me, "Do you remember that old man?" "Old man?" I asked, thinking about Aaron. He didn't know about Aaron, only Mother knew about him. "Yeah," he said, "the old man in the gray suit. Me and you were walking down from junior high school, and he came out of the street carrying those heavy shopping bags, and I asked you if we should help him, and you said no because Mother said not to go with people. Then when he passed us you said we should help him, and when we turned around he was gone." "An old man, is that what you saw?" I asked. "Yeah, why did you think I asked you if we should help him?" He answered. I still wonder to this day what it was we had seen, and why was it trying to get us to go with it, and what would have become of us had we done so. But mostly I wonder what it was that told Mother to warn us again. That second's hesitation had saved us.
Case number A013-2. The Evil Ghost. It was a cold winter's night in 1994 about 3 a.m., and I had just left the home of my friend Carolyn in the East Village. I had just rounded the corner of 1st Street and Avenue A, and was starting up to catch the F train. A brisk wind had swept the streets clean of garbage and clubbers alike, and was hurrying me along too. I had just passed the East Indian Deli and was walking past the parking lots of the high-rise when I saw the young man approaching me. He was staggering and really not dressed for the weather now, though earlier his attire would have been enough. I remember thinking to myself, you'll not make it through this night if you continue going in the direction you are staggering like that. Why not just put a sign on your neck saying, "Mug me. Easy prey." To my surprise, the youth staggered toward me and stopped. "You won't believe this," he said, "but I have walked all the way down from Broadway trying to bum subway fare," he slurred. "No one will give me even a quarter." I looked at him and was startled how much he looked like the ex-boyfriend of a mutual friend of Carolyn's and mine. It was just that he was at least 10 years younger but damn near a twin of him. He apologized several times to me for being in the condition he was and said he should have known better, but he spent every dime he had on a girl and a good time, and that they both ran out at the same time. I laughed and gave him a quarter and started to walk, for it was cold, and he said, "Great, all I need now is another $1." I had thought all he needed was a quarter by what he had said earlier, and called him back and said, "Look, you need to get your ass off these cold streets. Give me back the quarter, and I'll give you a token." Wobbling, he put out his hand and I took the quarter from it and pushed the token into his palm, for I was afraid he would drop it, and that was all I had, was 2 tokens and a quarter. "Now you need to get on the subway," I said, and started to walk toward the station. "Okay," he said, but walked in the opposite direction. I turned to call him. He was gone. I walked up the block and called Carolyn to tell her of what happened and about the young twin of Rob I had encountered. After a long pause, she told me how when Rob was a young kid he had been stabbed and died on a subway, but was brought back to life in the hospital. Was it young Robert's ghost?
Case number A013-3. Home Sweet Haunted Home. We have experienced several different strange things in our house. The house isn't scary. It was built in 1963 by my wife's grandparents. In the first event, my wife took a picture of my stepdaughter in the living room, and 2 light anomalies appeared in the picture. One had a palm of a hand in it. The other had the face of my wife's grandmother and great-grandmother in it. There were also reflections in the back door window of her grandfather in one pane, and 2 Yorkie dogs in another. Her grandparents had Yorkies. Getting that picture enlarged to investigate further, my wife was standing in a line at a copier place, and a guy working there asked why she needed that picture enlarged. She explained what the picture contained, and the guy behind her in line took 2 steps backwards and turned and left after she gave him a look at the picture. 2 or 3 times we had the roll of toilet paper come completely unrolled in the front hall bathroom. I watched it happen one time. At times we hear loud bangs as if something had fallen, but I go to find out what had fallen, and there's nothing there to make the noise. One time we were watching TV on the living room sectional, and one of the pillows started moving as if the cat was behind it. We watched it move a couple more times, thinking the cat would come out from behind it. I got up and moved the pillow, and there was no reason for the pillow to move. One evening, I was sitting in my recliner. My wife was on the sectional closest to me, and my stepdaughter was laying on the other end of the sectional. My granddaughter was sitting on the coffee table when, between my wife and daughter, a voice whispered loudly, "Boys." Everyone heard it, but there was no possible explanation for the voice. I would say that every day I will see something out of the corner of my eye, and I turn to look, but no one or thing is there. We aren't afraid of this house because the only people that have lived there was my wife's family. I understand that objects can have spirits attached to them. We do have several antiques that we have acquired over the years. Maybe something I've brought there had someone following along with it. We never know what will happen next.
This is Lon Strickler. If you like this program, it would help us if you would give it a thumbs up. Then subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notification when we upload new first-person encounters. We have many more to come very soon. And by the way, if you have a suggestion or an experience of your own, please leave a comment.